Hey, good morning. It is Monday, December 16th, and we're here with this week's episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. Today, we welcome back Scott Morris, who was our guest host for the month of November. And today, we're going to talk about something that I personally think is very important, which is recognizing your past leaders from your association. Because if you didn't have volunteer leaders, you probably couldn't get very much done. And I think coming to the end of 2019 is a great topic to kind of close the year out when we're all trying to reconnect with family and friends in this wonderful month that is like pretty much a month-long holiday in my now we don't get to take the whole month off, but we have Kwanzaa, we have Hanukkah, we have Christmas, we have New Year's Eve, and I'm sure there's like other ones that I just don't know about, but we have the winter solstice. So here we are. I am Cecilia Supp. I am the founder and principal of Rogue Tulips LLC. We do 501c consulting and association management services. And I'm going to throw it over to Agnes to say hello and introduce herself.
Thank you, Cecilia. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to our global audience, wherever you're operating from. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant with Rogue Tulip. Over to you, Cecilia.
Oh, thanks. And I'm going to throw it over to Scott to say hello.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back on a chatting session. And like Agnes and Cecilia, I'm an association professional and look forward to our chat this morning.
Okay. And
today.
And we're going to go ahead and start our conversation about recognizing past leaders. Now, I myself am a CRP at heart, and if you're not familiar with CRP, that's Component Relations Professional. So I'm a person who used to work with chapters and other volunteer leaders. I've done board relations. And I just know that a lot of times people put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and emotional energy into their volunteer job. And once it's over, it's kind of like, oh, I've just lost something, it's gone. And so I think it's really important to try to find ways to keep them in the loop and make them feel like they're still participating and that they still have something really important to contribute, because they do. They have history, they have experience, they have new ideas based on what they've learned along the way. So I'm going to actually throw it over to Scott first and hear what Scott has to say on this topic.
Well, I feel and would agree with all of those who say that all leaders should be formally recognized for their service and contributions at some point before their leadership commitment ends. I think that's important, and that any awards they get, they don't have to be elaborate or expensive, but they should be appropriate.
Great. And then what are some other ways, like let's say somebody's coming in, it's their last board meeting, for example, or it's their last time as chairman of the board, Scott, what are some things you think we could do to recognize them and let them know they're appreciated?
Perhaps an association might provide its board leader, its president with desk items such as mugs or a letter opener, that display the association's logo. Or an association might host a thank you reception and give a plaque to the outgoing volunteer leader, thanking him or her for their service as well.
So something tangible that they can.
Right, exactly. Something tangible by which the association leader can certainly remember the service that they provided, but hopefully, as you said, their service is ongoing as a former board president or former leader.
So Agnes, what are your ideas on this topic?
Thanks, Cecilia. I'm going to take a slightly different view, actually, but I really love all the ideas that's been shared here. I am looking more along the lines of some sort of a legacy wall, to really engage not only the current leaders, but also future leaders that are coming in. So with your organization, if you don't have a lot of budget, some sort of a legacy wall that shows the incoming leadership team and the existing leadership team, and really with their pictures, recognizing them for their service. The other thought that I am thinking also might require some budget, but there is value in actually building it into association budget to have some sort of a leadership retreat. Leadership retreat for current leaders and potential future leaders, because this provides an opportunity for more like a handover session and a brainstorming ideas of where the organization is going for the future. There is tremendous value there, and I would like to take that view, Cecilia.
That's a great point. So what you're saying, Agnes, is have the past leaders kind of train the new leaders when they're coming in, kind of pass the torch.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what you're doing is you're creating a very seamless transition, but you're also providing an opportunity for the current leadership and the incoming leadership to energize themselves, as well as brainstorming. So I don't see this retreat as just work, work, work. I see it as a refreshing, re-energization of their activities, wining them, dining them. They've earned it. And I think that, it'll be wise for us as an association to begin to think of how we can incorporate that activity into our budget so that we have, the financial means to do so.
I think that is a really good point, because I think the camaraderie and the social aspect of being a volunteer leader, we do it, but I don't think we do it consciously. And so consciously building in those times to come together for a meal, or maybe come together for coffee in the afternoon, or there are those of us who like happy hour, and have a little wine, maybe a nice liquor or something like that. I think that's really good. But that's not just recognizing past leaders, that's keeping them as part of ongoing leadership training. And then building on that, you could actually start a leadership academy. I mean, we're in a world where we can all have a YouTube channel. And so it'd be very easy, I think, for associations to set up a YouTube channel for leadership training. And you just record something short on different aspects of things. And a legacy could be built of interviewing past leaders as they're finishing up whatever position it is, whether it's a chapter president or a committee chair or a board chair or a board member. Maybe they have decided, oh, I don't want to be an officer, but they've been on the board. So maybe you talk to them and you say, hey, what did you learn? What do you think? What would you tell a new board member? Now, of course, a lot of them will joke around and say, run. But, when it but when it comes down to it, I think we could collect a lot of really good learning. And again, in this era where we have really easy to use things like Zoom and YouTube and rather inexpensive webcams if you want to, upgrade to something like that. So I think those are some good ideas. I think a lot of times too, just doing little things at a conference, like past president ribbons. And I know we all love to have fun at the ribbon wall, like how many ribbons can we put on our
right?
head, right? But I think that really makes a difference, because not only is it a conversation starter, but it says to people, hey, I've done my part. And then maybe somebody who's interested in doing something could talk to them and say, oh, hey, I'm interested. How did you get involved? How did you become a volunteer leader in the organization? What does it mean?
Right.
What other ideas might there be out there? Scott, we'll throw it back to you for a few minutes. What other ideas did you maybe jot down?
Well, in order to, I think one way to keep past leaders engaged is having them contribute to association publications, the monthly magazine, or the monthly paper, or whatever they do electronically these days. Also asking them to give a presentation at the annual conference, or at a standalone conference or seminar, and perhaps on occasion on particular issues, serving as a spokesperson for the association.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one. That's another good set of ideas. So, Agnes, throwing it back to you. If you have other ideas, we'd love to hear them, or if you want to build on what Scott just shared.
Absolutely. I love the ideas that Scott just shared, and I'm just going to build on that, just a little bit. The other area that could be considered would be to what he just said, maybe having some kind of a leadership panel where the panel of
Mhm.
leaders, current leaders, can sit, can have a session to discuss strategically where the future of the organization lies, opportunity to serve, how they've served, lessons learned, and the potential for that, for serving within the organization, and really making it as part of a session in the conference, as an ongoing thing, because what it does again is that it passes that torch. Not only does it pass the torch, but it also engages other members within the organization to really see serving in the association as a great opportunity, to be the best that they can be, and make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And especially making an impact in other people's lives, because that's a great segue to make a plug for what I think is a great way to give past leaders an opportunity to continue participating, and that's serving as a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
like in a
Right.
formal mentoring relationship, and really getting them involved, connecting them with a younger member, either mentoring them as an association member or mentoring them within the profession or the industry. And that's a really nice build on what you just said, Agnes. It's like get them out there, get them connected, get them just passing on what they already know in a formal way. Now, see, that's
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing. It's like putting people on panels is great, or doing some sort of just kind of like networking session where you can talk to leaders is great. But you're talking about people who've had a formal title and a formal list of responsibilities for some amount of time. And I think replacing that with another formal area, even though they may not be on the board anymore, they may not be
Mm-hmm.
the chapter president anymore, but giving them a formal position, a formal area of responsibility is important. Because I think we all, after we have been volunteering with a group for a certain amount of time, kind of feel a sense of loss, or what do I do now? Because I know I was very active at ASAE for a number of years. That ended, and I was at a loss. I was like, oh, well, what do I do now? It's like I've lost that connection. It's been snapped. It didn't just like
Mm-hmm.
slowly unravel. It was just broken because my
Mm-hmm.
time was up. My term limits kicked in and everything, which is great. I believe in that, and I totally support that. So having that formal thing to do, or helping them create one. So, which is where I think, again, mentoring is a great thing, building what Agnes said. So, wow, we're nearing the end of our session already, this week's episode. So, Scott, anything else you want to add on that one?
I think that the most successful associations are those that have programs in place that regularly recognize their past leaders, or those who are about to become past leaders. And I think it's really important for the future of the association to have those past leaders still engaged, and ready to offer their experience and expertise on behalf, to their members for any future things that are coming down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and having things like past president councils, I think, is a great idea.
Right.
You can name it whatever you want to name it, but like I've worked with past president councils, I've worked with past leader councils, things like that.
Right. Just having a mechanism in place to tap the benefit of their wisdom.
Yes, and also, again, making them feel like you haven't forgotten them, because I think
Right.
Absolutely.
because let's keep in mind, even though staff does provide a lot of the stability of an organization, when that staff is going to change,
Mm-hmm.
and then people don't remember people. And so I think it's really important to keep educating the new staff about, well, here's the people who came before, and these are the people who made the programs what they are today, or gave us the idea, or supported us in the development of this idea. And I think recognizing people in that way is really important. So it kind of like, as we're wrapping up, we're down to our last like 2.5 minutes. So, and kind of wrapping this up, we've talked a lot about having recognition through awards. And then, oh, and then Scott, you had also had mentioned right before we started recording something about amenities in the hotel room, like maybe a nice
Well,
something like that.
yeah, an association, might arrange for upgraded accommodations or special in-room amenities for their association leaders who travel to association meetings and, are about to conclude their term of office.
And so we don't want to forget that. And sometimes it can be something as simple as getting a ride from the airport.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Or pick them up, something nice like that. So we've kind of touched on tangible items like awards or amenities. We've talked about special services like upgrades to the hotel room or maybe a ride from the airport. But we've also talked about that continuing connection and relationship building and having formal ways for people to remain active. And I don't want to forget our retired members, because I think sometimes, our retired members, like there might be a retired member category. And I think a lot of retired members are like, well, I'm retired now, I'm out. Maybe I just want to read the newsletter or something like that. But I think there are some members out there who are retired who want to stay active. So, because maybe it's part of their social network, maybe it's part of their community. And so you want to make sure that they have an avenue as well, because eventually your past leaders are going to be your retired members. So you want them to continue to have that good experience. It could be something as simple as creating a group called the Silver Circle for retired members to get together and meet either at the conference or online in the online community. So we've talked about tangible objects, we've talked about activities, we've talked about connection, we've talked about formal services and counsel. So those are the broad areas in which you can continue to recognize your past leader. So as we're getting ready to wrap up, I'll throw it over to Agnes for any final thoughts. And then Agnes, if you could throw it to Scott for his final thoughts.
Sure. Well, I just want to echo a lot of what you and Scott have just shared. I think it really, an organization that's going to thrive and succeed definitely needs to be wise, and wisdom comes from recognizing those who have served you, who continue to serve you, and who will be coming in to serve your organization. It is wisdom, and all the ideas have been shared. And the reason why Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia exists is that we can share some of these ideas so that Association 501c community can learn from them. So over to you, Scott.
Well, thank you, Agnes. I associate myself with all of your remarks and all of Cecilia's remarks because, association leaders do spend a fair amount of time away from their families and, to a certain extent, their jobs. Not to mention the weekends on, or all the time on airplanes or in hotel rooms. So, they certainly deserve recognition for all of their hard work that they've done for the association over several years. So this is quite an important topic, and I think reflects on the values of an association and its leaders.
Great. Okay. Well, so I think we're going to wrap up for this week then. Hopefully our tips and ideas and suggestions will spark some ideas on your end for your own association and members. I know I have myself, and I know Scott and Agnes have as well, been volunteer leaders. And so we know, and we do know the importance of a thank you note. So
right.
Even if it's a thank you email, because that's the way we communicate today. So thank you notes probably are the #1 thing people would like to receive. So just send a short note like, hey, thanks for being a member. Thanks for your service. Thanks for being a leader. And people just want to be acknowledged. So let's remember not just to acknowledge and recognize, but honor our past leaders. So for Agnes and Scott and myself, we want to thank you for watching this week's episode, and we want to thank Rogue Tulips for being our sponsor, and as we are brought every week to you by Rogue Tulips. And we provide, again, Rogue Tulips 501c consulting and association management services. You can learn more about us at roguetulips.com. We also are strong supporters of the 501c, which is a virtual membership organization for everyone in the 501c community, including volunteers. So if you're a volunteer and you want to check us out, please do. You can check us out at the 501cleague.net. And we thank you again. And as we always say, take 15 minutes and talk to somebody because you might learn something. So
Yeah.
thanks, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.